sometimes, always, just in general. So roughly 20%. Okay, so at least you're not afraid of doing that. All right. So today I'll tell you a bit about what you'll be looking at after you release a new app. I know it's diving into unknown, but maybe you will succeed. This is good news. You have that percentage of the success rate. What I mean by success rate is that your app will make you more than $1,000 a day. Well, less than 10%, 100% apps are successful. Well, who I am? I am a product owner at Intech Systems. It means that I know something about Agile. I work with the mobile apps team and with the web developer team. We're more into e-commerce solution. I know a bit more about e-commerce because I'm a co-owner in a startup, which is an e-commerce startup. And I know some general business bullshit because I'm almost an MBA. Okay, so we're going to talk about this conversion funnel. Maybe one person who might really need your app will stay with you after some time. We're not going to talk about the upper part of this thing, which is lost somewhere on the way of finding your app on the App Store. We'll talk about really technical stuff. They will stay with you if the app solves your problem and if they love it, of course. So these guys, this part of the conversion funnel depends on you, on the product owners, on developers, on somebody who has control over the application. And I want to share my butthurt a bit later, but you need to see the trend. Developers all over the world are doing better. Now the retention rate over 3 months is roughly 17%. So if you download the app today and start using it, like 17 of 100 people will be using the app in 3 months. This trend is going up a bit, so people are gathering experience and they're getting better at it. So a bit of my butt hurt. I wanted to go to Jurmala with a bicycle with my girlfriend. I have a bicycle, she does not. Okay, so I thought, why don't we take those two marvelous bicycles? Of course, she was wearing high heels, as this lady, and an evening dress. How else can you go to Jurmala? So we thought, why don't we download the phone apps to pay for the bicycles? It must be really convenient. So I thought, okay, let's do it. I launched it, and the first thing I saw was the validation error and the 2 screens of forms. Well, I was a bit frustrated, but I got to the second screen. Almost. When I noticed that actually my first name and last name does not start with a capital letter by default, so I had to retype. I was getting a bit irritated. When I got to the next screen, for some reason, really unknown to me, the application wanted to charge me 9 euros. I wanted to spend like 3 euros to get to Jurmala. This is, well, maximum, this is top, 2 hours, not more. Okay, I started filling in my card details when I scrolled down to the place where it says that you can use it for free. Yeah, I thought, okay, I can pay later or take a look at how it works. I go to the next screen. And here I understood that I really need to make this deposit right now. So I got back to this screen and I had to fill this form again. I was really frustrated. I wanted to throw my phone out of the window when I heard laughter from the room nearby. My girlfriend also installed the app and her iPhone is in Russian. So this is the Russian version of the same app. For some reason it is half Polish and half auto-translated. Okay, at this point my butthurt was really strong and I wanted to submit some feedback on the app. So I went to the feedback form. Okay, my feedback was about the main menu, I guess. So I pressed on the main menu button and guess where I landed? Here. Okay. This was not feedback about the main menu, this was the back to main menu button. And yeah, the back button is also great, it points to the right. Yeah, my back did really hurt somewhere here. It really hurt. Anyway, we got to Jurmala, and we will not use those bikes again because they're terrible, and we spent maybe 15 euros extra, and we'll never use those apps again. So we will not be among those 1 or 2 people from the 100 who will stay with the app and use it again. So do it properly. Start with really technical things. There's a beautiful service which is called Crashlytics, which helps you to track bugs. You don't want your app to crash all the time, especially after the initial release. You want to achieve 100% crash-free sessions. This analytics also gives you a very basic understanding of what is happening with your app. It gives you a general picture of what is there. You know about the daily users, the daily sessions, the monthly active users, the crash-free users, etc. So really general things. And your developers get the valuable stats on the crashes. They see where exactly the application crashed. Disregard of the fact disregard, exactly. Freudian slip. Disregard of the fact whether the user himself did report the bug or not. All the bugs are there, and they have the full stack trace. What is more, this thing can sheet all of those bug reports into your Jira or other system by default. It has some API integrations. So it helps you out during your first months on the App Store, when you don't really have resources to test it properly and find all the places where it can crash. Okay, no crashes, but 0 sales. What is happening? Now you need to take a look at the next KPIs. Nobody stays at your app. This is your retention rate. And you start figuring out what is happening. You start asking questions. Why? Where are you going? Where are you going, people? Why don't you use it? And you start Googling. And most likely you're lost into all of those keywords, into all of those marketing buzzwords, into all of those articles, into all of those videos, into all of those analytic tools. Oh my God! I need to go to Google Analytics Academy to get an understanding of what is happening there. Well, not really. You just need to use common sense. That helps. You can just, from zero knowledge, you can get your necessary degree of understanding in weeks time. So first of all, ask a question: what your users need to do in the app. Then start looking for the things they might hate about your app. And then list your KPIs, which are key performance indicators, and start looking at those. So I will use as an example the e-commerce app we're developing. I'm not exposing the name, because you will see real data, real figures, but I'm not exposing the name of the app. It belongs to top 100 retailers of the US. By top 100, I mean a turnover of 200 million a year, roughly. So it's a big business. A lot of clients, a lot of money, a lot of transactions. So what you need to look at your e-commerce app? Classical conversion funnel. So you start building it. You look at your product page. Okay, somebody is going to my shopping cart. The percentage is roughly the industry average. Everything is fine on this step. Then somebody is selecting an address. Okay, this is industry average. And then they go to the next step. It is also fine. And here, at selecting a payment method, they get lost for some reason. Well, this means that you have to look at this screen. This is like your very first step you're going to make in 2 weeks from the release. Then you're going to witness some other interesting stuff. People with Apple iPhones buy stuff, but the people with Android phones do not. Do you know why? Anybody? Yep.
For example, there was high-end phones, but the Androids can also buy Chinese phones, so there's more different.
It's easy.
Well, you
It's
think
easier
this
from
user,
experience.
No money, no honey.
No money, no fight, right? Okay, there really many reasons why it happens, not only because of the low-end phones and stuff like that. It is also a bit more difficult to develop something functioning for an Android phones because there are really many models, many screen sizes. So yeah, the stats are that the Android conversion rate on average over the whole industry is 1.21%. These are those figures. And the iOS conversion rate is 2.07. So it's almost twice as big. So you're expecting something similar to that in your app. But you don't really know whether those figures are correct or not. You need to compare comparable things. So we have a mobile website. And we have the mobile apps for Android and for iOS. They have roughly the same functionality. What you do, just go to your Google Analytics or to other analytic tools, and you start comparing the same periods and start looking at the same user groups. So now we see that we have a problem because our Android conversion rate in the app is much lower than the Android conversion rate on the website. It means that our Android app sucks. Okay, it does not suck. It is work in progress. This is what they call it. So, do we have a problem? Well, yeah, we do. Now we need to correct the sampling and try to figure out what exactly the problem is. So what I did was comparing how different versions perform and comparing exactly the period of time when the single version was used. This is a very typical picture of users updating the application version. So as you see, maybe a couple of days pass and almost everybody is using the updated version. Well, this is the trend with us. I don't know if it is the same with mobile. It's not like that.
Depends on platform. In iOS, yes, in almost in 5 days you get about 80% for the new version. Yes. Normally it's wild. You need much longer time to achieve the same rate.
Well, this is Android. So we have roughly the same picture with Android and with iOS. We're just very dramatic with our release notes. We say it's a critical update. No? So it helps. When you look at the dynamics, you see that actually you're doing a good job. That your current version is much better than the initial one. That your conversion rate has risen by 30%, which is staggering. But still you have a problem because your current conversion rate is 0.97% and your mobile web conversion with the Android users was 1.07%. So you still need to improve, and you kind of expect that the conversion rate from your application will be higher than the conversion rate on the mobile website because it works faster, because it's smoother, because it has some push notifications, and it's just what you expect. So you start looking for a problem further on. You start digging and digging. All of a sudden, you find a group of devices that have a conversion rate nearly as zero. Those are some Samsung devices and some LG devices. Okay, LG devices, according to statistics, do not convert in general at all. I don't know why. People with LG phones don't buy stuff online. Mystery. This is the classical picture of Android testers' desktop. All of those are devices. This is basically the answer to our problem. But your budget for testing is usually like that. You don't even have money for one wooden device. So you cannot afford to have all of those to tap your app through. And you cannot afford to employ testers to do all of that stuff. So what do? Well, you start looking deeper and deeper. You have your general conversion funnel on average. You know the typical percentage on each checkout step. And then you start building segments for each device to see where exactly the problem is for this or that device. Well, this is the problem for the Samsung device, for one of the Galaxies. They leave from the product page. I don't know why. You just open the product page on that device and you see that your button is not there. Or something else broke down. This is general picture for the Android devices. So this is typical picture which happens every day. For instance, on this device you cannot really register, which is on the left, because your email field is not in the screen. The sign in button doesn't also look appealing. This is the Nexus 7 phablet. We call it phablet. You know why, yeah? The smallest device you can watch HD porn on. Yeah. So these are just typical examples of what happens on different Android devices. And this is the method how we understand what devices are problematic. And here we have roughly 15 or 16% of users that cannot buy anything due to different layout mistakes like that. What else can be spoiling your stats? Old versions, mobile picture. If your users use the old versions of the application, they might be experiencing some real problems. Well, how to solve this issue? You just be dramatic with your releases. Either you prepare yourself and leave some messaging functionality inside the app. Either you're an absolute evil and you turn off some functionality after the new version is released. So the person is just forced to update the application. What else can be spoiling your stats is users that are outside your target audience. You can filter those in demographic section and it will be fine. And the third reason, which is very important on the first stage, is yourself. Your IP, your office's IP. Probably your testers, yourself, your developers will be the most frequent users of the applications, like a couple of weeks after the release. If you don't exclude those from the reports, you might see a very interesting picture with people not buying anything and stuff like that. So you need to test the app. You really need to test the app. This is my favorite test. Well, this is not really a grandma, but as you know, if a grandma has balls, it's a grandpa. I test all my products and all my projects on my grandparents. Luckily, they're alive. What the test means, what it is like. You have 5 minutes to explain what your application should do or what your business project is about. If the elderly person understands what it is, how it solves his or her problem, then you're good. So just take your device, give it to your grandma, and see what happens. Another practical tips. What we do, we have two applications, Android and iPhone. We try to schedule the releases of the next versions on the same date. So basically, after our iOS application is approved by Apple, we push the Android applications. We also mirror functionality, meaning that the same features are released on the same time for both of the applications. So we can compare after that the results. Another extremely simple and extremely good thing you can use is the annotations in the analytics. After some time you will forget what happened on this or that release, but you can leave those notes for yourself to dig into your data after that. And the last practical tip is to use your common sense and to ask the analytics the right questions. Usually you will find the answers to them, and also you will find the reasons why you don't find the answers to them. And the last thing, you start with metrics, then you troubleshoot, then you waste money on marketing. And then you gather the metrics, you troubleshoot, and waste money on marketing. This is your typical cycle of development after you release the app with ready functionality. A bit of advertising, we're hiring. You can scan this QR to go to the website, to send us an email, your CV. And that's it. I want to see the... It's a bug, it's a bug, I have a bug in it. Yep.
Comparing iOS and Android, I mentioned about slow at the last while this one point you can't compare just Android and iOS. For example, for validation, you can compare, of course, that Android devices use slower rate of
Conversion.
traffic, they use less traffic. But if you compare iPhones, you compare Android only high-end devices, you get more similar results.
Yeah. If you compare the conversion rate on Galaxy S6, which costs roughly 800 euros, you'll see the same figures as on iOS devices. That's true.
I wonder, what's the brand of your mobile device?
I have an iPhone. Well, an iPhone 44, it's a 5C. Well, actually, I also have an Android. But it's on my desktop, back at work.
For testing.
For testing, yeah.
Just one? Android phone for testing?
No. A lot of them, actually.
That was his table, actually.
It was not my table, unfortunately. If we had this table, we wouldn't have those problems. And I wouldn't really have to dig into the analytics to write the new tickets for the team, but okay. It is cheaper to dig into the analytics than to buy all of those devices.
Have you checked out this new Google Cloud Tasting or something like that? They offer some Google app somewhere in the cloud.
No, actually not yet. Would you recommend it?
I don't know, I just want to know your experience.
We have our internal testers or professional QA guys. They do
No,
test
they
those.
just especially software because of this fermentation, yes, you mentioned. It shows that you're testing more devices than you can test. Exactly.
Well, probably this is some work to do in the future.
What is the average time for finding the problem?
Pardon?
What is the average time for finding the source of problem of your condition?
If it is technical, then you just sign into your Crashlytics dashboard and you see why your app crashes. If it is not technical but a design fault, well, it's maybe a week. If you see a drop in conversion, you need maybe a week time to figure out what happened, because you need some data which is meaningful. You don't have millions of users in your application after you just release it. We have thousands of them, so it's maybe like 5,000 or 6,000. You need a bit of time to gather data and make meaningful conclusions.
Seems that you have a tough issue, so it's hard to find questions. It's like, this analytics, But, thank you very much.
Thank you.